America's traffic, traveling for a variety of reasons, controlled by a variety of methods. This program is about one of those methods. What is flagging? Flaggers are provided at work sites to stop traffic intermittently or to maintain continuous traffic flow past a work site at reduced speeds and to help protect the work crew. Where is flagging done? Almost all maintenance work zones, as well as a large number of construction sites, depend upon flagging as a method of traffic control. When is flagging done? Whenever traffic flow is restricted by work being done on the highway, and sometimes when it is being done near the highway. Why flagging? The flagger or flaggers use the stop and slow sign paddle to help control traffic through and around work zones in a safe manner. Who is the flagger? This is easier to answer by saying anyone who has the following qualities. Professional. Someone who looks the part. Has a neat, clean appearance and a clean vest and paddle, and is alert and properly positioned. Responsive. Someone who is able to adjust to changing conditions. Informed. Someone who has been properly briefed by his supervisor and knows the limits of the work area and the type of traffic that will be encountered. Decisive. Someone who gives signals that are clear and makes decisions that the motorists and the crew will understand and comply with. Effective. Flaggers should be able to effectively and efficiently control the flow of traffic by following these rules. Professional, responsive, informed, decisive, effective. These are the qualities that make a good flagger. Pride. How to flag. Let's look at the how by looking at flagging on three very different work sites. There are two types of flagging that can be used when working on a stationary, short-term type operation. They are through the use of a single and double flaggers. Let's look at the double flagger situation first. The positioning of the flaggers in this situation should be A, in feet, from the flagger sign towards the work area. A is the distance equal to 10 times the posted speed limit. The flaggers should take the driver's visibility into consideration when positioning him or herself prior to the actual flagging operation. Each flagger in a two-flagger operation should be visible to approaching traffic for a distance equal to 10 times the posted speed limit. If there are no posted speed limit signs, then it is assumed to be a 55 mile per hour roadway, and A will equal 550 feet. Note how the flagger contrasts with the background in this situation. This helps provide better visibility of the flagger. The flagger should always keep this in mind when positioning him or herself for clear visibility between themselves and the traffic. All flaggers must be in communication with each other. The communication may be visible through sight or verbal through a walkie-talkie or CB. Though in all situations one of the flaggers should be the lead flagger. He will have the main control of the flow of traffic. In all cases, all flaggers should cooperate and work as a team. Notice the proper flagging procedures displayed by this flagger. He slowly turned the paddle from the stop message to the slow message and then motioned the traffic to proceed around the work area. This is a clear and understandable message to the motorist traveling through the work area. The traffic is not confused and passes through the work zone in a more efficient manner. Both flaggers should be alert to the traffic in both directions. Once traffic has been stopped, the flagger must wait for communication from the other flagger prior to releasing the traffic. Having received communication from the other flagger that it is okay for the traffic to proceed, the flagger will motion the traffic through as seen here. One thing the foreman can do to help control the flow of traffic in a work zone that has become stretched out is to insert a third flagger somewhere in the middle of the other two flaggers. This flagger will be able to provide additional direction to motorists that might be confused or are driving too fast. This flagger will probably be using a flag and hand signals to slow the traffic. A single flagger operation is a little different in that there is only one flagger to control the flow of traffic. This operation requires the complete attention of the flagger as well as the traveling motorist. The foreman in this operation must be particularly aware of correctly installing the warning signs. The single flagger operation may only be used when all of the following criteria are met. Number 1, the sight distance from the flagger to the flagger signs in both directions are unobstructed. Number 2, the length of the one-lane section is not greater than approximately 150 feet. Number 3, the average daily traffic volume is not greater than 1,500, which is about 12 vehicles or less in a 5-minute period. The foreman must remember that if any of these criteria cannot be met, then he must use a two-flagger operation. The flagger positioning for a single flagger short-term operation should be approximately halfway between the beginning and end of the work area. The single flagger should be in the lane on the opposite side of the work area and be able to see both flagger signs. Some examples of operations that might use a single flagger are pothole patching, pipe replacement, and inlet or end wall construction. Again, all of these operations must meet the criteria we previously mentioned. These criteria can also be found in Publication 203. While flagging may at times be a boring job, the flagger must remember that they hold the key to safety in the work zone. One thing the foreman can do to help relieve this boredom is to relieve the flaggers periodically throughout the day. This can be accomplished by training all of the crew members in the proper procedure of flagging and rotating them throughout the day. Flagging is a very important key in the control of traffic through the work zone. The assistant manager also plays an important part in the control of traffic through the work zone. The assistant's role may not be as visible as the flagger, but it is a vital cog just the same. Whenever the foreman or crew have questions concerning work zone traffic control, he is the man to ask. The relationship between the assistant manager, foreman, and crew should be one of cooperation and trust. They are part of a team that is maintaining Pennsylvania's highways. An employee who takes pride in his work and does it to the best of his ability will have fewer problems. This tape will now stop for the instructor to answer any questions that you may have.
The second site we want to look at is the intersection. As with all traffic control, the basics apply. The motorist must have awareness that the pathway is being controlled. The motorist must clearly understand the signals given and must have time to comply. Let's watch this officer direct traffic at an intersection, even as he explains how.
Okay, we're now directing traffic at an intersection. This is one that's typical of either a T intersection or a four-way intersection. important thing to remember at these intersections is to position yourself in an area where you can be seen by traffic coming in all directions. In almost all cases where the intersections are aligned directly across from each other, that would be a position in the middle of the intersection so that all traffic in every direction can be watched. One of the important things while you're directing traffic in the four-way intersection is to never make a movement rearward without ascertaining that the vehicles are stopped in that direction. If you wish to stop traffic in one direction or the other direction, you should point with your hand, getting the attention of that driver, and then making the appropriate signal. In order to stop a driver, it should be an upright palm raised directly out in the position of the driver. If you want to move that traffic forward, you wave them in a manner of the hand coming directly across in front of you. Turning movements can be directed using a sweeping hand motion, either palm open or with the finger being pointed out in the direction you wish the traffic to come. Again, you want the traffic to stop, you point, raise the palm forward. You want them to start, point, and bring the hand across.
Note that the flagger, like the police officer, constantly checks the lanes of traffic, and when signaling, the signals are clear and timely.
Use of the whistle is useful in that it gets the attention of a motorist who, after being stopped for a period of time, may not be concentrating on the person directing the traffic within the intersection. It's an audible signal, gains their attention, they look in your direction that you've blown the whistle, and you can use that then to provide further signals and gestures to move the traffic accordingly. There's a natural break in traffic as we have coming up here now when the weight car passes behind me. It's an ideal time to move the traffic from the side streets and allow them to flow without backing up traffic on the main road. Keeping in mind as the traffic moves, you have to then check your side streets, make sure the traffic on the main road stops so that there's no interfering traffic within the intersection. From backup of only 4 vehicles now on the main roadway, the side intersection is brought to a stop again, and traffic both directions on the main road can proceed.
In some instances, emergencies will arise where it will be necessary to begin working without the proper traffic control devices required by Publication 203. In these cases, all available safety measures shall be taken, and the work zone brought into compliance with the requirements as soon as possible. In the case of an emergency where flagging is required, the ideal situation is to notify the state police and have them direct traffic around the emergency area. While this may be the ideal situation, many times it is not feasible or possible due to the time constraints or manpower limitations. If a tree has fallen over onto the road, it is sometimes quicker to just remove the tree and clear the road than calling for state police officers to direct traffic around the alternate route. By the time he gets there, you may have the road open to traffic. The crew that arrives at the site must evaluate the situation and act accordingly. The flagger should take precautions so that he is visible, particularly if working at night. Ultimately, the station where the flagger is positioned should be illuminated. The flagger should have an orange vest and hard hat, and if flagging at night, must have a vest with reflective striping. He should preferably have a flashlight with a red wand or one or more flares to supplement his reflectorized stop and slow paddle. When a stop and slow paddle is not available, a red flag should be used. It should be a minimum of 24 inches by 24 inches in size, attached to a staff approximately 3 feet long. The flag portion should have a stiffener in it to ensure that the flag hangs vertically and provides a greater area of visibility. This tape will now stop for the instructor to answer any questions that you may have.
Let's take another look at what we've covered. First, we discussed flagging on the highway, the two-flagger operation. Remember, the position of the flagger should be A, where A is equal to 10 times the posted speed limit. Flagger should contrast with the background, be in communication with other flaggers. Then we talked about the single flagger operation. Position midway in the work area, unobstructed sight distance, work area length not more than 150 feet, and an ADT of less than 1,500. We mentioned the need for communication between the flagger and the foreman. We looked at intersection flagging and compared the duties of the policeman and the flagger. We talked about what you should have when responding to an emergency. All of these are wrapped up in that one word, pride. If you are professional, responsive, informed, and decisive, then you will be effective. In addition to this video, Flagging and the Flagger, the following video programs on work zone traffic control are available from the Technical Information Center or your training coordinator.